This is the Amtrak train database system, and this is the explanation for the trigger associated with this database. What we've done for the trigger is we've taken a look at the number of seats available on a train, and we want to ensure that no reservation route entry is allowed to enter that makes this number, or that exceeds this number. So a reservation route is essentially a seat on a train. In order to do this, if we take a look at the trigger, what we've done is we create a replace trigger named max seats. This is done before insert on reservation route. It needs to be before because if the entry is allowed to enter, then it will still exceed the number of maximum seats. This is done for each row. The variables we're using here are max seats, or the number of available seats on the train, and what we've done is we've taken the number of carriages on a train and we've multiplied it by 2 for the maximum number of seats. Now in the real world, you'd probably see this number multiplied by more like 40 or 50, but for the sake of clear and concise data points, we're just going to show you what happens when we use 2. The other variable we're going to use is the current seats, or the number of reservation route entries that share the actual route ID and date. Now, in order to get the maximum seats, what we first do is we join the train table with the actual route table on train serial number, and then we select 2 times the number of carriages. And we do this where the actual route ID, route ID, is equal to the new entry's route ID. So we're just selecting the train that a reservation route entry is trying to be entered for. For the current seats, what we are doing is we are selecting the number of entries in reservation route where the route ID is equal to the route ID of the new entry. And then we compare the current seats, and if the current seats meets or exceeds the max seats of the train, then we raise an application error and print the message, this route is already full. So let's see what we do when we enter this data. So first we will run the trigger, make sure it runs okay. Trigger created without a hitch. Now we'll do trigger test. And trigger test here is we're essentially making a route. It's going to have value 9, and then we make an actual route with route ID 9 and date of 11th of July 2013, and then we make 9 new reservations, and then we link each of these reservations to the actual route by giving them the actual route ID and the route date of 9 and 11 July 2013. So you can see here each of these reservation routes is associated with the actual route that we created, and then each of these reservation IDs is used as the reservation ID in the reservation route entries. And what we should see is that these first 8 here should go through without a hitch, because the train we're using for this particular reservation has 4 carriages, which should give us a maximum of 8 seats. So these first 8 should go by without a problem, and then we should try to enter this last one in and see that it is going to throw this error and tell us that we can't do that because the seats has passed. So let's see if that happens. Run trigger test. Everything has, all of the rows have entered until we get to this last reservation route entry, at which point it says this route is already full. And then if we select the entries in reservation route where our route ID equals 9, we can see that there are 8 columns that correspond to route ID 9, which confirms that we have kept this last reservation route from being entered into the system.